with him. Johnny, how do you got first?
Yeah, I think Cal has said a few times recently, talking about Ty's performance and maybe not even realizing he's being as impactful as he is because he's so quiet sometimes out there. Just how rare is that for a freshman, especially, to be that efficient and not have to go out and take a bunch of shots to impact the game?
It's very rare because the biggest thing about being a freshman guard is understanding the pace and just the change of play you have to have from high school to college. And, he's one of those guys that just goes out and plays. He never complains about shots or wanting to play more point guard or anything like that. He just plays the basketball game, and you never really know, what he's done in the game till you look down after the game and you look at his stats. If you look at his stats, he's averaging like 14-5 and shooting 40 from the three. And you'll go through a game and think he's only had about 6 points and taking 2 shots. So that that's just a compliment to the way he plays and things he's able to do.
Jay Tippin, you got next, and then John Clay.
Jay, as a former point guard yourself, I'm wondering how you assess the challenge Scotty Pippen will present for you guys.
Oh, it's a big challenge. He's a really good player. He's kind of the engine to their team. He's a 20-point scorer. I think he's averaging 18 right now. He's not shooting the ball as well, numbers-wise, if you look at it, but you know what he's capable of doing. So, he's a big part of the game plan. He's a big part of the scout. He puts you in and they run a lot of good stuff for him. They put you in situations and predicaments where you have to make a lot of decisions. So, the big thing for us is, is trying to eliminate just his open looks and making them play inside the line, kind of pressuring them to wear them down a little bit early and things like that. But if we can make them shoot contested twos the whole night, then we'll feel pretty good about the job we did.
And I wonder how you would – it seems to me Ty and Xavier are not identical in how they go about point guard play.
Right.
How different are they to your eye? And is that an adjustment the teammates have to make, or is basketball and just kind of flow with it?
It's more of an adjustment for us, because the thing about Xavier is the pace of the game. That's the one thing that he's able to do with his speed and things like that. And, the one thing when getting both those guys this summer is, playing with 2 point guards. This is the benefit of it. When one goes down, another one has the ability to do this. And this has really been last game was Ty's really chance to play, I guess, a lot of point guard within the game. And he did a really good job with that. And we got to get that to carry over for the rest of the year. Because, if you want to be really good, especially late and in this conference, you have to have good guards. You look at teams who've won the conference and the last couple years winning national championships, they play with multiple point guards. So we have that ability. Now we just have to be able to execute and continue to get better.
Thanks.
John Clay, go ahead.
Jay, this team, especially with Xavier and Ty, seems to be an excellent passing team.
Mm-hmm.
How much of that can it be taught, or is it just instinct and basketball IQ?
It's a little bit of both, and it's a little bit of having people that can play the position. You know what I mean? Like one thing I always tell Xavier is, he's been small his whole life, so he's only had to play one position. He's never had to worry about anything else, so he's gotten comfortable being able to do that. And then I think the thing with Ty is he's a point guard too. We've asked him to be more of a scorer and do more things like that, but he's a point guard also. I think the one thing that both those two are they're naturally unselfish, and the rest of the team knows that, so it makes it easier to run in transition. It makes it easier to get in position because if you are open that they'll get you the ball. So, it's kind of a culmination of all those things that those guys bring to the table that kind of help the team. And it really helps you offensively. And then kind of the numbers show that and what we've been able to do this year.
Keith Taylor, we'll go with you next, and back to Larry Vaughn.
Hey, Jay, I know you've been a point guard, but how easy is it to be a point guard knowing you got a player like Oscar in the paint that can just rebound and random and you have that option down the paint? How's that for a point guard to be able to have him in the post?
It makes it a lot easier because he is the ultimate bailout. When you get stuck anywhere, and he's one of those guys that's it's rare these days as a big man that he's one of the bigs that can catch anything and catches everything. And that shows in the rebounding too, him being able to go get those balls. So you can throw him a bounce pass. We're working on him with his lobs and stuff, getting better at that. But, most of the things, off the floor or above his shoulders, he's usually catching. So it gives you a lot of confidence that if you can always kind of throw it around that area and he'll go get it. So that's one of the things. And then, at the end of the clock, sometimes you're forced to take a shot and, you have the opportunity to get another possession because he's down there. So it gives you confidence to kind of shoot any kind of shot when you need to.
Larry Vaughn, and then we'll go to you, Jeff Drummond.
Jay, a lot of attention, obviously, with Ty and Wheeler and Kellan shooting. But how important is Davion's role on this team and being able to come off the bench and do the different things that he can do for you guys?
It's huge. It just adds another dimension to us. It gives us another score. I was happy for him last game to finally have a breakthrough for himself because he's one of those guys that shows up every day, works hard, and doesn't go through the motions. Everything he does is full speed. So I was happy for him to do that. And when he can get, that type of comfort within the game where he's making, open shots and runners and floaters and some of the passes and stuff he made, it just adds a different layer to us because, he's a guy that could come off the bench and he's capable of getting 15 off the bench. And it just gives us more confidence in our scoring and ability to get to certain numbers.
How hard do you think it is for a sixth-year player to accept a role like that off the bench, or is it not that hard?
He returning, I believe, I don't want to be misquoted. Eric might want to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was the returning leading scorer from last year. And so, he's a guy who just got his 1,000-point ball. That's an accomplishment. And, it's just a testament to him and what he's been able to do because it is hard. You know what I mean? I'm sure it's not what he expected coming back, but it's been the best thing for the team so far this year. And he's kind of brought into that and been able to help us in that way. And kind of like I said, last game was kind of a breakthrough game for him. So hopefully now he has a better comfort level and just a little more confidence in being able to do that every game.
Jeff Drummond, we'll go to you, and then Jerry, I'll circle back.
Yeah, Jay, I was wondering, what did you guys learn about playing defensively without Severe in this game, and how does that kind of play into the approach with Vandy and defending Pippen, like you said, trying to kind of get into his legs?
Yeah, I think that's like what we were talking about earlier with the difference in the point guards and the pace of the game. The one thing with Sabir, and Coach Cal has been on him ever since he got here, is that he had to be a disruptor on defense, and he's done a great job of that. And so that was the biggest difference in the first half of the Georgia game is we didn't have anybody pressuring the ball. And they were able to get in their offense and able to get, good looks and coming off the ball screen easy and get good shots. And then in the second half, Davion did a great job of picking up the ball and pressuring. So, I think that was the biggest difference of being without Sabir, and that's what we're going to have to ask, Davion to do because we think he's the next most capable one. We're going to, of course, push Ty to do it, but he's still a freshman, and defense is not the first thing on your mind when you're a freshman. So we're trying to get him to play up to that level as well. But Davion did a great job in the second half of Georgia, and that's something that is going to be big going into Vandy when you have, he's the preseason SEC Player of the Year. So we got to do our job on him.
Jerry Tipton, you got next, and John Clay.
Jay, as you know, the court at Vandy's different. The
Mhm.
benches are behind the baseline.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what factor that is in terms of coach-player communication, or in particular with Ty if he's the main point guard again.
It's different because I think, I think Keon may be the only one who played there when the benches have been normal. Last year when we played with the COVID, we were still on the sideline there. So, it's a big difference, and Coach has already talked to him about it. So that's something that we just have to kind of explain to him and get him, because I remember my first time playing there. It's weird. It's completely different because, you get used to looking certain ways and knowing where the coaching stuff is, and now you might be at a end of a game and you're completely on the other side, offense, defense. You know what I mean? So it makes it hard just trying to communicate. So we just have to make sure that we have a good line of communication and getting them to understand, you know, how to look and how to get it relayed to the team. So it is very different.
Sorry. You said Coach Cal talked to the players about it.
Yep.
What message do you think he wanted to get across to them?
You know, just as a different element that they've never had to deal with before. That is something that we have to get, you know, accustomed to, which is hard in a short turnaround, but just getting their mindset on, you know, the different point of references that you have to deal with now.
Thanks.
John Clay, go ahead.
Jay, this team is still looking for their first true road win. They've been close in the 2 games before, but we're not able to get it done. Is there one thing they need to do tomorrow night that they didn't do in the previous 2 road games?
Execute down the stretch, offensively and defensively. That was kind of I think the same theme in both the Notre Dame and the LSU game. You get to a certain point in the game around that 6-5 minute mark where you have to really be on your P's and Q's on both ends of the court. And I think that's one thing that we know. You know, in the Notre Dame game, it's our first time going through it. In the LSU game, you know, we kind of had to do it on the fly because it's our first time playing without Xavier late down the stretch. So, you know, that's something that we've really worked on. I mean, really the last month, coaches made a big deal of the last 4 minutes of the game, offensively and defensively. So we feel pretty confident with our strategies and going over it and stuff. Now we just have to go out and execute it. That's the biggest difference.
Larry Vaught.
Jay, are we to the point in the season where you kind of start to wonder, is the light bulb going to come on in the right way for like Hopkins and Collins? Are you still seeing things on a daily basis we don't see in games that tell you, yeah, they're getting there and they're making more progress than maybe what a person like me would think they are?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they've made tremendous strides, and they're continuing to make tremendous strides. You know, the one thing about our team this year, at least from my perspective, that's different from our team last year, is we're a lot older. You know, and I guess prior Kentucky years, those guys would be playing minutes because there wasn't older guys behind them, if that makes sense. So, you know, you would be seeing more of them, and they would be growing on the court in games. You know, right now they're growing in practice, through workouts, in the weight room and stuff like that. So I think that's the one thing that's you aren't seeing because, you know, we got guys playing good. You know, you got the 4 guards who have been playing good. Jacob has really turned the corner. You got Oscar who's, I mean, it's hard not to want Oscar on the court for every minute. So that's just things that these guys are having to deal with. But they've continued to keep great attitudes and continue to work hard and come in every day. And they're getting really a lot better. So I think that's just a big thing is this. You're not seeing them on the court, but it doesn't mean, you know, it's something they aren't doing. It's more so what the people in front of them have been playing really well. And when the opportunity comes, they have to be ready to perform. And that's something we continue to preach to them. So hopefully they'll be ready, but they're doing the work and they're having great positive attitudes about it.
Couple more minutes, guys. We'll go to John Wong.
Jay, by all previous standards, this is a relatively new coaching staff coming together. And Cal was talking the other day about how he loved the enthusiasm of the group. We see you guys on the sidelines. You're pretty animated. Can you just kind of assess how the coaching staff is coming together?
I mean, we're really close. And that makes for a tight-knit coaching staff. And, you know, it trickles down to the players. If they see it, then they know that we're in the foxhole with them. And I think everybody has done a good job of accepting their role and doing what Coach is asking them to do. You know, because you come from different places and you have done different things where you've been, and then you come here and you're asked to do something else. And that takes a good toll on you to kind of, you know, let go of things you have done and kind of accept what you need to do now. And I think that's been the biggest difference. And I think we have people who want to be here, and it's important to them to be here. And it's important to them to work for Coach Cal. And I think that's the one thing that you see in what he says with the enthusiasm is, you know, when you're somewhere where you don't want to be, it shows. And I think everybody here is excited to be here.
I want to take you back to your playing days.
Oh, geez.
We all know how difficult it is to get 17 assists.
Yeah.
How hard is it, and how many assists did you ever get? What was your record?
I mean, I would say I probably had more assists in high school than college, but 17 assists in college is ridiculous because of the rules and stuff. Like in NBA, you have different rules where you get extra dribbles and still get an assist. Now in college, 17 assists in a game is really impressive. It's extremely hard. I don't think people really understand, because you have to rely on other people too to make shots. It won't like they were just all drop offs to Oscar for layups. So that just shows kind of just his willingness to pass, and then how good we did play down the stretch in that game with the shots. But 17 assists is I've never done that at any level.
Thanks.
We will include Jay Lucas's career high in assists in the game notes we send out later today.
Please don't.
Other than that, though, if we don't have any other questions, we'll let Jay go here. All right, Jay.
All right.
There, guys, we'll put the replays. Yeah, we'll start with you. Go ahead.
Kellan, it seems like we've been in this same conversation a few times about winning on the road. You get another chance tomorrow. What exactly does that do for your all's confidence, given, you don't play road games in the tournament, but how important is that?
It would be huge for our team overall. Especially given that we've been in the two road games we've played, we've been in two dogfights, and we've had our opportunities to win, and just unfortunately we didn't make enough plays in both instances in the last 4 to 5 minutes and didn't get enough crucial stops. So if we can learn from those two games and then come up with a win on the road, I think just for our collective spirit, I think it'll be big for us.
Larry Vaught will go to you next, and Jerry Tipton.
So kind of when you're talking about your collective spirit, that being big, does that mean there's some doubts or a little bit of lack of confidence right now, or that would just raise everything, just make everything better?
No, I don't think that's the case. Like I said, in both games we were, like we felt like we could have won. We felt like we should have won, in fact. But I just know that. Excuse me. I just thank you. I just know that this is the SEC. It's probably the best league in the country, and every game is a tough game. And as we've seen throughout the league already so far, there have been games where teams you don't expect to beat certain teams have beaten teams. And home court advantage is huge in the SEC, so it will be great for us to go, no matter who the opponent is, into any opposing arena and get a win.
Great, Tipton, you've got next, and Keith Taylor.
Kellan, maybe, I'm sure you know, but Vandy has an odd home court. The benches are on the behind the baselines, and the fans are a little more removed from the sidelines. I'm wondering, as a player, how big a factor are things off the court as opposed to things inside the lines?
I've played at Vanderbilt. I played there my junior year, so I got a taste of that. I mean, it's definitely a little bit different than the typical arena we play in, but at the end of the day, the game and everything is going to be decided between the lines.
Thanks.
Keith Taylor, you got next?
Kellan, I know the other night you guys played with Tata at the point guard. How important is that moving forward to know that you have somebody else besides Tshiebwe that can run the point in a pinch?
It was huge for us. I mean, Tata's he's a point guard, combo guard, and he's played the point when Tshiebwe is out of the game most of this season, and we all knew he was plenty capable. And then you guys saw how awesome he was and what he demonstrated out there. So it's just an added luxury for us to have.
John Hale, circle back to you, and then Jerry again.
Oh, and speaking of Ty, we talk about even when he has big games, sometimes it's kind of quiet. You don't realize how much he's doing out there. How rare is it for a young guy, especially, to be able to be that efficient and not go out and have to take a bunch of shots to impact the game?
I mean, it's huge. I think Cal called him a silent assassin not too long ago. But like, for example, I had no idea he even had 10 assists. I looked up at the end of 4-minute media timeout, and I think there was 15 assists next to his name. But he just repeatedly makes the right play, the easy play, and it almost just goes unnoticed, and you don't necessarily realize the impact he's having on the game. But he was just fantastic. That was one of the best performances I've seen, and I've been in college for a while.
Jerry Tipton, back to you, and then Larry.
Yeah, Kellan, I wonder what sort of challenge does Scotty Pippen present, do you think, for you guys, for your point guards, the whole thing?
He's a good player. I've played against him. This will be my 3rd year in a row. We played Vanderbilt my junior and senior year at Davidson, and so I'm a bit familiar. He's pretty versatile. He's got a lot of stuff to his game, but we'll prepare for him like we prepare for any other elite guard, and we'll have a game plan to hopefully limit his effectiveness.
And if I could, Cal has mentioned you as a possible point guard option, if needed, pointing out you played against Kentucky as a freshman as a point guard, I believe he said, in the NCAA tournament. It's been a while. How comfortable would you be as a point guard?
Well, most recently, I played point guard last year for Davidson. That's the position I started at. It was a much different offense, and the responsibilities were different. But I'm capable, and I'd be ready if that's what I was asked to do or called upon.
Thanks.
Yep.
Vermont.
Kellan, now that you've played 15 games with Oscar, is there anything he does anymore that surprises you? Is it almost easy just to take that he's going to get 80% of the rebounds for granted?
I expect, it's crazy to say out loud, but I expect him to get 15 to 20 rebounds every game. And it seems like 98% of the time he does exactly that. He's running the floor. He's awesome in pick and roll because he draws attention. We're able to post him. He's just been he's been a first-team All-American caliber player this year for us.
Does he ever have a bad day? It seems like he's always smiling and happy. But have you all seen, does he have bad days?
Not that I've been, not that I've witnessed. I'm sure naturally he has, but no, Oscar is always in a great mood. He lifts your spirits. He's really one of my favorite people I've ever met. So Oscar's awesome.